Welcome. I'm Catherine Myrick, the Vice Chair of the School Committee, and I am so excited to welcome you to the new Horatio H. Hunnewell Elementary School. Woohoo! We proudly gather here today to celebrate and to present to the community this new school, which stands as a symbol of what a town can achieve by working together. The new Hunnewell School was purpose-built for 21st century education. It was designed to support the district's educational plan, and it includes classroom neighborhoods with learning commons and spaces for collaboration and small group work. It has connections between indoor and outdoor learning, and classrooms oriented to the quiet side of the building. It has after-hours access to the cafetorium and the gym for community use. And it's an efficiently designed two-story building so little legs can get from one place to another quickly. The building also supports the town's carbon reduction goals, and it's the first example of Wellesley's sustainable building guidelines in action. It's a net zero ready, all-electric building that's been designed with high efficiency strategies, and it'll have solar panels installed on the roof thanks to our partnership with the MLP. As the school committee liaison to this project, I've been in the building numerous times along the way, and the changes are striking every time. In early fall of 2022, we were walking around the outside in the mud when it was just a foundation. In the winter of 2023, we were walking through with our hard hats and our high visibility vests when it was framed up, but you could still walk through the interior walls. In the winter of 2024, we walked through with the whole school committee after the building had been handed off to us from the construction team. It was a nearly finished building with paint on the walls and tiles and cubbies in the hallways. But the most amazing was walking in earlier this week and seeing that the building has come to life. There was laughter and quiet chatter in the hallways. There's art in the display cases and on the bulletin boards. And there were kids working inside and kids playing outside. All of the hard work over the last 10 plus years that this community has put in has earned us this treasure. There are innumerable thank yous because it really was a team effort of the highest caliber that made this school a reality. And I want to mention some people. I'm sure I will miss someone, and I hope someone else will thank them later because there are so many. From the beginning, Matt Kelly, Sharon Gray, Melissa Martin, and other visionaries on the school committee who believed we could do this. So thank you to you guys. Also thank you to David Lucier, Cindy Marr, and the whole central office team, the master planning committee, and subsequently the school building committee, the permanent building committee, who took school committee's specifications and created this building, to F&D, the facilities management department, specifically Joe McDonough, Glenn Remick, Steve Gagosian, and Dick Elliott really made this happen. Our professional partners in this work, SMMA Architects, Vertex Project Management, and WT Ridge Construction. Their can-do attitude made all the work go quickly and easily. To our principals and our educators throughout the district, who made Swing Space a positive experience for all. And lastly, to our community as a whole for their commitment to Wellesley Public Schools and the support of our building projects at town meeting and at the ballot box. So thank you to all of you in this room, and the community as a whole really made this happen. And with that, I will hand off the mic to Superintendent Dr. David Lucier.
Well, good morning, everyone. Especially after last night's Bruins loss, this is helping me recover, so I'm so glad to be here. Friends, colleagues, members of our community, and invited guests, I'm David Lucier, the proud superintendent of the Wellesley Public Schools, and I am so pleased to be joining you on such a special day for our community. Less than 2 years ago, we stood on this site to commemorate our groundbreaking. And just a few short months ago, the site was transformed from a building project into a school as our students and staff walked through the doors for the first time and breathed life into this beautiful building. The 18 months in between, as quickly as they went by, represent only a fraction of the time it took to conceive this project as part of an ambitious elementary building plan that's led to the construction of 2 new elementary schools. Along the way, these ideas had to pass through many committees, public forums, email exchanges, evening meetings, and critical votes too numerous for me to name or to count. This has been a once-in-a-generation effort that we all want to get right. And let's face it, this is Wellesley, which can sometimes feel like the Princeton Debating Club, and we love to process. Moving a building project through so many checkpoints is simply not possible without the incredible commitment, expertise, and perseverance of an extraordinary group of staff, town leaders, board members, community volunteers, architects, and builders, whose collective work is responsible for the beautiful state-of-the-art school in which we now stand. With this in mind, the names on the dedication plaque, which is displayed just inside the entryway, I'm sure we get to see it, represents just a small portion of the individuals who helped get us here. Many of them have joined us here this morning, and they deserve our thanks. Schools are unlike any other buildings because of what occurs within them. Think of the previous Hunnewell School that stood on this site for 83 years. Generations of students were educated within its walls, friendships were formed, and lives were shaped through the indelible experiences that alumni have delighted in sharing with us. With the opening of this new school, we've now begun the next chapter in Hunnewell's storied experience, as the lives of the next generation of students are shaped within these walls every day. Schools are unlike any other buildings because of what they represent. Quite simply, schools represent hope. The hopes of our parents who send us their very best every day, and the hopes of our community as we look to shape the future. I've been so proud to be part of bringing this school to life, and I can't think of a more appropriate time to dedicate this school than during Wellesley's wonderful weekend. What could be more wonderful than this? It remains my honor to serve as your superintendent of schools, and on behalf of a grateful school district, I say thank you and congratulations to our community.
Thank you, David. Our next speaker is Sharon Gray, former school committee member and chair of the school building committee, now the Wellesley Public Schools Director of Community Engagement, and also with special thanks, she helped plan this day. So thank you, Sharon.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sensing a common theme in the room today. It's really so wonderful to see your faces, including some of you who worked on this project a very long time ago. As part of my relatively new role with the Wellesley Public Schools, as Catherine noted, I had the pleasure of helping organize this event and going through the names of more than 100 people who helped make today possible, including several who started seriously studying our elementary schools back in 2012. And reading through the names brought back a lot of great memories of working with just wonderful, caring, committed, and really thoughtful people. And Catherine has already mentioned some of the milestones in this project, but I'm going to add a couple of more because I go back a little bit farther. You probably don't remember, I didn't remember, but it was 5 years ago this past Thursday that the school building committee, after considering almost a dozen options, I think, on the site, voted overwhelmingly to support a all-new Hunnewell school. And what's amazing to me, every time I walk into the school, which is a lot because I have a badge now, which is very exciting, not so much, it's not so much of what we discussed at the time 5 years ago is exactly what the building turned out to be. Not just the floor plan, which really didn't change much at all after that day, but many of the details, how the SBC envisioned the spaces being used, what they should feel like, how they would connect with each other, and what benefits they would provide to our students and to our teachers. And really, I want to shout out the mix of members we had on the SBC who allowed us to plan thoughtfully, ask the right questions, develop a vision, and respond to what we were hearing from the community. It really was a remarkable lineup of committed citizens who had deep experience in not just design, construction, and education, but also in our town and its government, and it was such an honor to be part of that group. I think of them fondly all the time. So 5 years ago, it was all there in the planning, and then it was realized through SMMA's design process through the expertise and vision of the Permanent Building Committee and the stewardship of the Facilities Management Department and Vertex. And then you had David Lucier and Cindy Marr and Ellen Quirk and a team of principals, teachers, and staff across the district and committed parents who worked out an ambitious internal swing space plan so we can all be here today instead of sometime in 2027. And it's really hard to remember now standing here, but this almost did not happen on this timeline, so I want to commend everyone who helped push that forward. So David, by my count, it's 8 committees working on this. Each group kept moving things forward. So I think it started with the School Facilities Master Plan Task Force. I'm not sure if that's the name. The School Facilities Committee, the HHU Parent Committee, the HHU Master Plan Committee, the School Building Committee, and the Permanent Building Committee, and then the School Committee and the Select Board. We were fortunate to have SMMA along the whole time, which was great because they listened to us at every turn. And then we worked with a whole host of other boards across town, most notably the library and also what is now known as the Climate Action Committee, which 7 years ago, rightly and successfully lobbied us to maximize the sustainability of this new facility and the new Hardy. And I also want to note how closely at the time the school committee and the select board were aligned on this common vision for getting our kids out of buildings that were no longer viable. And all in all, what I just described amounted to probably hundreds of challenging conversations. This incredible building seems so obvious to me sitting here and so appropriate, and like it took too long, which it did. But I've also watched other towns, some of them across the state, who are grappling with some of these same issues around school consolidation, declining enrollment, neighborhood schools, buildings that need replacing. And a few of those towns are not succeeding because the town hasn't been able to gather the will to work together on behalf of the students to get something done. And I hope when you look around this building today and at Hardy in a matter of mere months, because we've got 2 of them coming, thanks to you, that you think about what can be achieved when a lot of folks work together to identify a common goal and pursue it relentlessly and in good faith. For me, this has been one of the things that make our town a community. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much for the role that you played in helping us get here today.
Thank you, Sharon. Our next speaker is Michael Tower, who is the current chair of the Permanent Building Committee, who had a huge role in getting this building finished.
Thank you. Good morning, friends. What a treat to be here to get to talk to y'all today. I've been on the PBC for about 5 years, so most of the work that I've done so far has been related to Hunnewell and Hardy. I had always recognized that schools are sacred spaces, but what I've really come to appreciate is that the act of building a school is itself a sacred undertaking. And so I'd really like to first start by thanking the people whose labor created this amazing space. Starting with our town's own FMD, these professionals work tirelessly every day to make sure that the town's facilities are beautiful, they function properly, and they're ready for whatever the town throws at them. They are consummate professionals, they are a pleasure to work with, and we owe them a tremendous debt of gratitude. One of their primary jobs is interfacing directly with our professional partners, and we kind of had the dream team on this one. As already noted, starting with our OPM, Vertex companies who navigated us through this entire process, SMMA, who has delivered yet another beautiful, sustainable school building to our town, and WT Rich, whose exceptional work on this project really set new standards of excellence. The genesis of this project, though, didn't start with those amazing professionals. It started right here in this town. So I'd next like to thank and recognize the amazing contributions of our partners on the School Building Committee, on the School Committee, current members and those who have rolled off but nevertheless left an indelible mark on this project, and most especially on the amazing educators of this town themselves. They've been involved in this project from day one, and it would take hours to list all of the ways that they have enhanced this building to the betterment of our students. But I do want to identify 2 lessons that I took away. And I should say, as the proud parent of a Wellesley Public School student, this is not the first time I'm seeing these principles embodied by these amazing educators. First, center the child. Always center the child. Center the work. Our educators, we live and breathe that principle every day, and the rest of us could not help but absorb it. And so when we faced a fork in the road on this project, we first thought, What will most enhance the well-being and safety of our students? What will best support their educational journey? The second lesson really relates to the fact that we're building 2 elementary schools at the same time, which is quite an adventure. One option probably would have been to design a generic elementary school, multiply it by 2, and simply plop it down in the neighborhoods. But that's not how our educators educate our children, and that's not how we built these buildings. To be sure, our educators set high standards and expectations for all of their students, but they don't teach generic kids. They rely on their years of training and experience to tailor their lesson plans for the needs of our students. And I think that inspired our professional team to rely on their years of training and experience to mold these buildings to perfectly suit their environments, to meet the needs of their specific communities, and to support the programs of their schools. And against all of that, we maintained the highest expectations of excellence, and we worked very hard to make sure that there were parity, always parity, between the Honey and Hunnewell projects. Because just as each of our students equally deserves an excellent education, each of these neighborhoods equally deserves an outstanding elementary school that meets the needs of its community. None of that would have been possible without all of the amazing work of the people that I've mentioned so far and so many others. And I'm tremendously grateful to all of them. I'd like to leave you, if I may, with my 3 hopes for this building. The first is directed towards the educators themselves. I hope that we have built a building worthy of the excellence and passion that you bring to our classrooms every day, and that it aids you in your own sacred work. Second, to the residents of this town, I hope that you are as proud as I am of what we have accomplished by working together on this amazing building. I am so proud to live in a town that consistently invests in its children and their education. And my final hope is for the students themselves, the ones that were running around here yesterday, the ones who will be here in 5 years, and the ones whose parents haven't even met yet. I hope you thrive here. I hope this building serves as a joyful backdrop for the beginning of your journey to figure out who you are and what your place is in the world, and that in some small way, this building can help unlock the limitless potential that is inside each and every one of you. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Colette Alfranc, the Vice Chair of the Select Board, who have been our partners all through this process.
So good morning, everyone. I'm Colette Alfranc. I'm the Vice Chair of the Select Board, and it's an honor, a privilege, and to be really candid, a joy to be here today at this opening ceremony. I'm speaking here on behalf of today's Select Board and several prior iterations of the Select Board who served on the School Building Committee and partnered with the School Committee, the Master Planning Committee, the Permanent Building Committee, and as Catherine and many other speakers previously noted, a long list of volunteers, staff, consultants, and in particular our amazing Facilities Management Department, Superintendent, Central Office staff, and Executive Director. In local government, as in life, nothing as momentous as this is achieved alone. Relationships are important, and partnerships are critical. And I just want to take a minute and focus on what I mean by partnership. Our elected and appointed bodies are asked by our community to come together, share resources, experiences, and skills to achieve outcomes that benefit the town as a whole. The process to get here was long and thoughtful. It requires an enormous commitment from volunteers, staff, consultants, and the community, for which we are truly grateful. It required a true partnership. Thank you to the town residents who engaged in the deliberation process and overwhelmingly supported the funding and execution of this beautiful school at the ballot box. Thank you to the Hunnewell community for waiting for so long in a school that had most definitely exceeded its useful life. I think we can all agree today it was worth the wait. Understanding the hard work and partnerships that it took to get to this joyful day, it's our pleasure now as a community to see the fruit of this labour and truly enjoy the excitement of the students as they learn and grow in this beautiful school. I, for one, will be enjoying the playground, but vicariously. So once again, on behalf of the Select Board, thank you to the many, many people who made this project a reality.
Thank you, Colette. Next, I'm pleased to introduce Representative Alice Peisch, State Representative and Assistant Majority Leader. She is a longtime advocate for education and a partner with Wellesley, so thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'd like to thank Catherine's school committee for inviting me to participate in the program this morning. I particularly appreciate it because this project is actually somewhat unique in that the state has not been a partner with the town. And if the town had wanted to wait even longer, the state might have become a partner. But I think it speaks volumes about the commitment of all of the people who have been involved with this project, but also the town itself, that it was willing to step up and say, despite the fact that we are not yet eligible for funding from the state, we are not going to make the students and the teachers wait another 5, 10, however many years it might be. One of the unfortunate facts of life is that there are insufficient resources to fund all of the demands, both in the town and at the state level. And because the state partnered with Wellesley High School and with the Hardy project, this project would have been further down the list. So I just really want to underscore how important I think it is that we all live in a community that is willing to acknowledge the needs of the students and the teachers and step up and provide the resources when it needs, recognizing that it needs to be done. And I'd just like to make a couple of other comments along this sort of same lines. For 12 years, I chaired I was the House Chair of the Education Committee in the legislature. So I have interacted with schools, teachers, superintendents across the Commonwealth. And it has really, it has shown me what I was pretty sure of before I got to the State House, but Wellesley really is a community that values education. It's why many of us moved here. And I think it's when I travel to other communities, I see all parents want the best for their students. But we're fortunate in that we have the resources to be able to act on that. Not everyone has that capacity. So I would just like to acknowledge, as others have before me, the residents of the town for stepping up to fund this project. And I would also just like to comment on it reflects not only, I think, on our desire to ensure that our students are well served, but also I think it shows our respect for our educators. From time to time, you'll hear the statement that, what really matters is what goes on in the classroom, and whether the classroom is new or old, it's the teacher that matters. There is no question that the teacher is the number one factor in providing high quality, strong education for our students. But I think that it is important that we respect those teachers by providing them with an environment in which they can provide that quality of education. And for too many years, I think the teachers that worked in the old Hunnewell School had to overcome a lot of obstacles. They did, but I'm very happy and feel very fortunate to be a resident of a town that is now providing both the students and the teachers with an incredible space. So thanks to all of you, and I know from having worked when I was on the school committee on the Sprague building project, how much time it takes from many, many people, and to the point that's already been made, working together to make something like this happen. I do think that this has already also been mentioned, that Wellesley does have a long process And there are times when you're in the middle of that process that you think, you know, will it ever end? Will people ever come together? But at the end of the day, particularly when you're talking about something that is probably going to be with us for decades to come, to spend another year, few months to get it right is well worth it. So again, thank you to all of you who are much more involved in this than I, and I look forward to many visits to the school in the future and to bringing my grandchildren to the new playground. Thank you.
And we have one final speaker this morning. Ellen Quirk, our beloved Hunnewell principal, is going to close us out today.
Thank you very much. 3 months and 2 days ago, we walked through this building for the first time. And I want to just tell you, it has been put to great use. Our PTO has had creative arts and science projects happening in our innovation space. The teachers have been collaborating and can pick any number of places in which to do that. We have had Ball in the House, so we've had a great performance here in the cafetorium. We've had a book fair. I want to thank Mr. Leone. Some of the carts dented the walls a little bit, but he went around and patched everything up and made it beautiful again for us. And then just this week, this building has been taken out for a spin. We started off with kindergarten orientation, and this year our incoming Ks happened to be a lot of firstborn children, so a lot of people who hadn't seen the building, and they were thoroughly impressed and so excited that their kindergartners, their first time entering a school would be Hunnewell. We had our field day on Wednesday, and even though our fields aren't ready, Mr. Lagan put on a great show in our cafeteria, in our gymnasium, on our playground. Astrid, it was pretty good, right? The field day? Yep. And then last night, we had a scaled down version of the fun fair with the carnival, with all kinds of games happening in here and food on the plaza and the infamous cakewalk out on the plaza. So everybody just had a great time, and this building is the perfect backdrop for what is happening. I want to also share 2 stories. One was right after we opened. David asked if we could have the admin council meeting in our brand new conference room, which was wonderful. And as I'm providing a tour to all the administrators, Mark Ito turns to me and he said, "So when did the kids get here?" And I said, "They're actually here. They're all just tucked into their little neighborhoods," which is just great to know that it's quiet. It's a quiet learning environment. We could be walking in the hallways, giving the tour, and our kids could be learning in those beautiful neighborhoods. And then one day I was just out and about walking around the building, and I happened on the 4th grade hallway, and there was Learning Common. And Miss Colangeli and Miss Peridot were working with Ken Craig, one of our math specialists, and all the kids were in groups of 4, and they were near the windows and the whiteboards in the various spots in the common. And they had their erasable markers, and they were all solving equations on the wall, standing up. It was alive with learning. The kids were so excited to be able to learn while standing and marking on the walls and on the glass. And then it was, 20 minutes later I walked by, it was all erased, cleaned up, and they were tucked back in their classrooms. It's just, I cannot tell you the ways in which we will be able to use this space in the future, and I think people are just starting to discover those, and it's going to be amazing to watch what happens in this building. I just know the kids are going to come up with new and innovative ways as well. As the principal at Hunnewell, I want to thank, on the behalf of students and families and staff, the Wellesley community for building us such an amazing place to call home. I know the kids will have a great time here in the years to come, and we couldn't have done it without the swing space schools for the past 18 months. So I thank my colleagues who also welcomed us into that space and made this building possible. I hope you all enjoyed the tours today. You are in for quite a surprise. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. Now we get to the exciting part where we actually get to explore the building. So Sharon and I have designed a self-guided tour If you'll give us a few minutes to organize volunteers, we're going to have some volunteers in orange vests throughout the buildings to help guide you and answer questions. And we also have put together a video. Thank you to our designer, Alex Pitkin, and Stephanie Hawkinson, and the team at Wellesley Media. Sharon's going to get that started here, that talks through some of the design elements and how this was put together. And then you're welcome to grab a brochure at the back and walk through the school and see this beautiful school that we've created. So thank you, everyone.